Good morning and good evening, everyone. Okay, before I start, I do see there are folks who have issues setting up Apache and allowing port 80, because of which they are not able to access the static page. So let's do one thing. Let's go and reiterate the process, and let me show you again how do we set up Apache. Though I have shared the steps in the group, but let me set this up again. Yeah. So Jay, I'm just starting the things again for you. So basically I'll create a simple VM, and on the VM I'll allow port 22 and port 80. Okay, through, and post that we'll set up Apache on top of it. Okay, so this is something we'll do it from scratch. So if you're new to the class, Jay, make sure you sign in to this portal.azure.com. The documentation is there in the group, plus the documentation is uploaded on the portal also, the Valaxy portal also. So just follow the documentation, sign into portal.azure.com. Post that, you'll come to this screen. Okay, so what we have to do, we need to look for virtual machine at the top and click on create virtual machine. Okay, let me create a resource group. DevOps folder, Valaxy-RG. Okay, just give name as VM1. Screen size, this is the max I can do, I believe, because if I increase more, this is good. I've increased it to 120% now. Okay, now I'll select Ubuntu as my OS and I have my user ID password. So user ID will be Valaxy, password will be test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So I'm just repeating the same process. I'm just creating a simple process, simple VM on which I'll set up a Apache server, guys. Okay. Now public inbound port over here, guys. Make sure you allow port 80 and port 22 both. Okay, don't miss on port 80, because if you don't have port 80 allowed, you'll not be able to access your static page. So this is the type. This is the place where you need to make sure that your port 80 is also allowed. And I simply go and review and create. Okay, no other changes required. Just simply create a simple VM. There are other changes like virtual network and everything. That is something we will cover later. For now, a simple VM creation, allow port 80, select Ubuntu machine and go ahead and create. That's it. Okay. Okay. And the steps, I just rewrite the steps which I'll be executing. The first command will be sudo apt update. Second is sudo apt install apache 2. Just copy paste the same command and just run it. Okay, sudo system ctl status apache, just to verify if apache is installed. Third is switch user to root. Then you can write whatever you want in this bracket. Welcome to guest set box. Okay, I can have other things also. This is very simple. This is not PowerShell, Jay. This is a simple Linux commands which I'm writing right now. You can put this in shell script if you want later, but this is a very simple Linux command which I'm writing right now. index.html. Okay. Now, post which you can just exit out of it and just restart your Apache one more time. This is the same command which you have to. I'm just sharing this command in the group chat. If you want to keep it for your reference, please keep it. Okay. Now, if you see, guys, I have a VM created. If I go and see, this is my VM page. You can see my public IP through which I'll be able to connect. More importantly, suppose if you have not allowed port 80. Okay. So if you come to the networking section, this is the networking. At this point, you can see this is an NSG group. That's a network security group. Over here, if you see the port 80 is allowed and port 22 is allowed. If suppose in the inbound group, if suppose you have not allowed port 80, you can also come over here, add inbound room, select service type as HTTP, automatically port 80 will be allowed and the priority will be set as 330 and you can add. Okay, this is already allowed. In case if you missed it, you can come to this networking section and you can allow the port again. Okay, just keep that in mind. Don't worry what exactly this is, how this is created and things like that. We'll cover this when we start with VNet, that's virtual networking. Okay, for now you can just go and allow port 80 and port 20. Just keep that in mind. You just cancel this, and in order to connect, you just go to the overview page again and select this public IP, open bash to SSH. What was the username? It was Valaxy. And what is the public IP? This is the public IP. And let's try to connect. Put in your password. Perfect. So I'm logged in right now inside my VM and I will simply run this command. So I'll just copy paste and run it in front of you just to make sure whatever commands we have written, is it valid or it has some issues. This looks good. Let's copy the other one. Perfect. So let's run the other one. And this looks good. Now let's verify if it is all. Yeah. So make sure to check this also whether your Apache is running or not. Okay. Once this is done, just switch user. So basically, in order to edit this file, this index.html file, you need to be in as a logged in as a root user. Okay. So that's why I'm switching to root and then I'm editing this file. Okay. Now let's exit out of this and let's restart your Apache one more time. How do we verify if things are working? You can simply go and look for this public IP. I can open a browser, look for HTTP. Welcome to DevSecOps. So this is looking pretty good. So this is again, guys, I've just repeated the same thing which we were doing from last 2 days. So make sure if you have missed or if you have joined new, this is a very simple VM creation, nothing fancy. On that VM, we have installed a web server, that's Apache HTTP, and in that Apache, we have deployed a very simple static page. Okay. Okay. There are a couple of questions. Let me go through it. If you want to create VM in Azure, can we create through Linux? Through Linux. So you say using a Linux machine, you want to create a VM. Yeah. So in that case, you need to set up CLI. Azure CLI on your Linux, and through CLI you can create. How can we enter new command? After running Apache 2, how can we enter new command? Sidisha, I need more information, like what exactly you meant to say after running Apache 2. How can we enter new command? So are you talking about this? How do we update the index file?
Yes,
Are you talking?
actually system one status Apache 2 is there, no? Then after line end is there. After I can't enter a new command. It's showing line end.
Okay, after this command, you're saying you
Yes,
cannot enter.
I'm asking above one.
Okay,
That one only.
okay.
That one after I got line end.
Yeah, if you have your system, you can you share your screenshot in the group, or can you share your screen? I can have it because I need to see what exactly you're talking about.
Yesterday I
Just
got I closed everything.
that's okay. Try it again today. If you get the same thing, make sure to click it and share it in the group. Okay,
Okay,
that
sure,
will help
definitely.
us. That will help us understand more about your issue. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. Okay, and I do see you usually we use Cloud Shell or PowerShell, right? For Linux, no PowerShell, Jay. If for Linux, if you're using a Linux OS, then it will be Azure CLI, command line utility. PowerShell will be more for Windows. Cloud Shell will be if you are logged into the portal. Cloud Shell is nothing but this thing. This is Cloud Shell. If you click over here, then it will open two types of shell, Bash and PowerShell. Okay, so you can use any of it in order to run the same commands. If you want to create a VM out of this, then even that is. So basically this uses the same thing in the backend. It will be using the CLI, whether you use a Cloud Shell or whether you use a PowerShell. So there are multiple ways you can create resources on cloud. One is through CLI, PowerShell, APIs, and the portal or the Terraform or the ARM template. So there are multiple ways you can manage and create resources. So whichever way you like, you can go and do it. PowerShell is specific for Windows. If you're running it from Linux, you can use PowerShell. If you're running it from the Windows machine, then you can use PowerShell commands to manage your resources. And if you're very specific that it's a Linux OS on which you're logged in, then you can use Azure CLI. Cloud Shell, you can use both, whatever you want. Okay. We'll use this Cloud Shell also in coming future. But for now, let's focus on the portal, the easier way of creating things on Azure Cloud. Okay. Now, guys, this was a quick recap from my previous session. Today, what exactly we are doing, let's focus on that. There are a couple of things what we'll see today, such as we'll talk about custom image, and more importantly, we'll talk about VMSS, continuing the availability and resiliency topic. VMSS stands for virtual machine skill sets. Okay, this is very important topic. But before that, let's talk about custom image. Now, what exactly is custom image? Now, imagine this is something a VM you have created. You have configured this VM with Apache and you have set up a static page on top of it. Now, just imagine of a scenario. You need to have such VMs created. You need to have more such VMs created, such as you need to have 10 VMs of this image needs to be created. Okay, with the exact setup, like whatever you have set up right now, you have set up Apache, you have set up your static pages and things like that you have done. Okay, now this is one VM. Now you need to create a clone of this VM. So somewhere around 10-20 VMs you want to create. How do you do it? One way of doing it is you go and create those VMs again and start running all these commands again. That is a typical way which you can think of, correct? But that is very time consuming. Okay, so in such cases, if you have such requirements wherein you need to have a custom image created, and that image could be used to create multiple VMs going forward, then there is an option of capture image. So what it will do, it will go and capture those image for you, and it will basically create, you can create new VMs out of those images. How do you capture image? So it's very simple and straightforward. Once you create one single VM, okay, once you logged in and you have done all sort of setup, there is a deprovision command which you need to execute. So deprovision is nothing but it will, what exactly it will do, it will go and delete all your root accesses on that VM. It will basically deprovision your VM. Once you do a deprovision, you can go and capture and create an image. One important thing to notice, guys, once you do a deprovision, once you run the deprovision command, that VM will not be accessible. Whether it is Windows, whether it's Linux, once you run the deprovision command, your VM will not be accessible. It will be in the state that you can just create image out of it. Okay, so keep that in mind. How do we deprovision in Windows? So the command is sudo wa agent. I'm using the same VM, and there's a flag deprovision. So wa agent is an agent which is running on all Azure machines. So you can make use of this agent and you can use the flag deprovision. Deprovision plus user. So the user will get deprovisions. There's a spelling typo. Devision. Okay, there's a typo. Okay, now if you read through it, what exactly is happening? The WA agent service will be stopped. DHCP lease will be deleted. So basically your DHCP server itself is getting deleted. Root password will be disabled, so you cannot log in as root after that. etc resolve config file, this is your DNS file, will not be removed. This is a behavior change. Okay, Valaxy account and entire home directory will be deleted. So I have a user named as Valaxy created on this Linux machine, and this is getting removed. So basically, once I do yes, your complete Linux will be deleted and it will be ready for image creation. Now, what exactly, there's a question, what is deprovisioning? So deprovisioning is basically, so this is a Linux machine which you have created and you have set up some certain users. Now I want to create image out of this particular VM. You cannot directly create an image because there are credentials, there are root user credential, there are users created, and you cannot create image if you have anything as such, because this may cause a security concern. So what Azure suggests, that before you go and create any image out of a VM, make sure that image is deprovision. So deprovision is nothing but it's a step taken before creation of an image. So these are the steps which it will be taking. It will be stopping the agent, it will be deleting the DHCP, it will be disabling the root user, it will be removing the config file, it will be deleting the Valaxy account. If you have any other users, even that will be deleted. So that is something we are deprovisioning the VM in order to create an image. Okay, these are the steps, deprovision steps, which will be executed. Okay, and if I say yes, done. If I exit out of it and if I try to log in again, I cannot log into this VM, and this little image, this VM will eventually be deleted and stopped. Okay, once the deprovision is done, guys, at the top, if you see, there is an option of capture. This is basically will create an image for you. So you just have to click on this capture. and if you see, the image is getting created over here. Okay, so it's a resource group name, region will be selected, share image to Azure compute gallery. So this is a kind of a gallery, guys. This is a service which will help you build a structure and organization around your images. Okay, this will help you replicate your image globally, maintain versions, and many more. So if you create a gallery, so gallery is like how you have gallery in your phone. In that phone gallery, you keep your images. You can share that images with others. If you want to uh, copy those images, create a new version of it, you can easily do it. It's the same concept over here. If you have n number of images, and if you want to version those images, you want to share those images globally, anything else, if you have any such requirement coming forward, then you can create this gallery. Okay, the gallery doesn't comes free. It comes with a cost, so you'll have to go and check what exactly the costing is. So for now, I don't want to create a gallery because I don't have any such requirement of creating new version of images, sharing that images. I don't have any such requirement. So what I'll do, I'll click on no. But if you want to create a Azure compute gallery, you can surely do it. Okay, now this is my image name. I'll simply go and review and create. So I'm creating a image out of my VM right now. Now if you see this image, the virtual machine is getting stopped right now automatically. So when you create the image, the first step is deprovision. The second step is uh, capture image. The third and the automatic step will be stopping the virtual machine, and eventually the virtual machine will be deleted. You can delete the virtual machine, it's of no use once you create an image out of it. Okay, makes sense? So these are the list of steps which we need to perform. A very important question, why do we need image? So this is again, if you have any requirement wherein you need to have clone created of your existing VMs, at that time you will create an image. Okay, makes sense? Anyone has any questions, please do let me know while we are waiting for the image to come up.
For
Anyone?
this process, it's custom image.
Sorry, can you repeat yourself?
Means what is called for this process?
It's an image creation process, custom image creation process.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you please copy this command that you enter in the Linux, that is a
This command?
deprovisioning? Yeah.
Okay, deprovisioning command. Okay. Okay, in this I will add the deprovisioning command also. Jay, the question was any scripting language to create automate right? So you mean to say, can we use scripting language to automate things? Is that the question?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we can do it very easily. We can do it, and eventually in this course itself, we'll be using Terraform scripting, and we'll be using ARM templates to create resources on cloud. Okay, so that will be in upcoming video sessions. We'll do that. As of now, we are going very basic right now. Okay, so guys, it's all done. If I go and at the top and look for images basically, so you can see this image. This is my image which we just created. So if you see the resource group name, Valaxy RG VM1, and we got the image created over here. Okay, now so the provision state is succeeded, so the image was created successfully. Now this is first topic wherein we spoke about custom images. Now the second topic is wherein we need to talk about VMSS. Now what exactly is VMSS? Let's deep dive a bit. Give me one quick minute. Let's open the PPT. Okay. So VMSS, guys, stands for Virtual Machine Skill Set. Okay. Virtual Machine Skill Set. What exactly is VMSS? Okay. Again, a question. What is the question? Can we create more than one VM image at the same time? Yes, why not, Kareem? You can create it if you have multiple VMs, and you can go ahead and create it. At the same time
Uh,
means it's
okay.
two different VMs. What does that
Yes.
mean?
I mean, same VM,
Hmm.
multiple copies at the same time. I mean, instead of going every time for create image, so can we specify create two images during that process? Is there any way to mention it?
Why do you need two images? What will be the requirement? Because the same image will be used multiple times also. So I'm just trying to understand why, what is exactly the requirement is. If you want to create multiple versions of the same image, you can easily do it. You need to use the gallery option, Azure Compute Gallery option, using which you can create multiple images very easily. Okay, but at the same time, when you're creating images, you need to create multiple versions of it. So I don't think that is quite possible. But yeah, if you want to create multiple versions of it, you can definitely create. Make sure to use Azure Compute Gallery. But that will be multiple versions. When do you create multiple versions? If there is a change in your existing image, like
Okay.
now you
Yeah.
have set up Apache, then later you have made some configurational change to the Apache, and you want to create a newer version of it, then that becomes a different version for you. If you have any such requirements, then yeah, definitely you can do it. Okay.
Yep. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Right. Once that image is created, and if we are required to means if we are going to create one VM at that time in a drop down, can we get the option for these created images?
Yes, very good question.
Okay.
Let me show you again. So when you go to this virtual machine, like imagine you're creating a new virtual machine now. And before that, see this, guys, virtual machines. Now, do you see the status of its deallocated? So this machine is not accessible now. It's been deallocated. You cannot use this machine. See the status, okay? Because this VM has been deprovisioned. Okay. So this is how it looks like when you do a deprovision. Now let's create a new VM. When you come to the VM, there's an image section over here. You just have to click on see all images. In this, you can go ahead in my images at the top, you can select your image. Okay, I got two images of the same name. You can select which your image. Okay, this is how it will
Okay.
look like. Okay, let me see what is the name of the image. So this is our image ending with 2809. Okay, good. So this is how you'll be selecting your custom images. Now let's go back. Let's
Quick
talk
question,
about,
please.
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, quick. I have a quick question. You mentioned that. So let's say we are asked to create a custom image, right? And then according to what you said, when creating a custom image, it will deprovision whatever virtual machine that you already have. So what happens if we have, let's say, 10 other virtual machine uh, in our account, and then we were asked to create a custom machine. So what happens at that point to all the virtual machine that we have on our account?
Okay, so my first question, the 10 VMs which you have, is it all different or is it same?
Let's say different.
Yeah, so if you want to create an image of all those 10 VMs, then all the 10 VM needs to be deprovisioned. Okay, so if you want to create an image, the question is, if you want to create an image of those 10 VMs, and those 10 VMs is all different, there are all different set of things running on it, and you need to have an image created, then yeah, all the 10 VM needs to be deprovisioned, and if you do a deprovision, those VMs will not be accessible. Okay, so yes, so the answering to your question, yes, all the VMs needs to be deprovisioned and the image will be created, and the image what you create later, if you want to launch a new VM using the same image, exact replica of your VM will be created again without any issue. So it's the image file which you have, it's nothing but it's a VHD file, .vhd file. It's a exact replica of your VM. If you create a new VM out of those VHD files, it is exact replica. So there's no, if you want to come up with the VM again, there's no issue. You can do it very easily.
Okay,
And
but let's say those VMs, we have application in those VMs and they are running at, at the time we 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 do this custom um, machine, and the provision happens and then it's stopped. Will that not affect the application?
yeah, it will definitely affect. So you have to make sure, like if you cannot just simply go and run the deprovision command. Okay, you have to understand the consequence first. Like if you have any production VMs running right now, and if there are applications running on top of it, you cannot do it. You have to take a proper downtime. You need
Okay,
to ask a,
so so if you want to have a custom um, uh, uh, what's the word again? If you want to build a
image.
custom image, so
Yeah.
it's something that you would do at the initial stage.
Yes, that is at the very beginning you'll decide, not once the application is deployed, once your production is deployed. No. So this is something at the very initial level when you're designing your architect. At that time, you
Okay,
have to decide all this.
okay, got it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I was. If we run deprovision command, does it stop all VMs? Not all VMs, only that VM on which you're running the command. Okay. So this is the second topic of today's, guys, virtual machine skill set. So in availability and resiliency topic, we have spoke about what exactly is availability zone. We spoke about what exactly is availability set. We spoke about load balancer. Now the fourth topic will be talking about virtual machine skill sets. Okay. Now what exactly is virtual machine skill set? Let's talk about that. So basically virtual machine skill set lets you create and manage a group of load balanced VMs. So in order to load balance, what we were doing, we were creating a load balancer, and inside the load balancer we were having our VMs getting created. Okay, so that was basically only a typical load balancer thing what we were doing. Now what additional this VM skill set does, it will help you automatically increase or decrease number of VMs based on demand. So it will let you have, let me open the pointer. So it will automatically, the number of VMs can be automatically increased or decreased depending upon the demand or defined schedule. Now suppose your application is running behind the virtual machine skill set. Now there is a CPU spike. So you got two VMs currently running your application. Now there is a sudden spike. Okay, there is a sudden spike and the CPU percentage has increased. Now what this virtual machine skill set will do, it will automatically go and add more VMs to your existing virtual machine skill set, and it will take care of load. And once the spike is gone, it will automatically delete that VM from your stack. This is what will be done automatically. Now it supports up to 1000 VMs, guys, with your own custom images, or up to 600 VMs. So if you're using your own custom images, then it can support up to 1000 VMs, or it can use up to 600 VM. What are the benefits? It is very easy to create and manage multiple VMs inside virtual machine skill set. It provides high availability and application resiliency by distributing VMs across availability zones and fault domain. Availability zone, the topics which we have covered, and fault domain, guys. So availability zone is what? When you divide your VMs in multiple zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. And fault domain is what? It's a rack which has its own power supply and network switches. So this virtual machine skill set has the capability of distributing your VMs across multiple availability zones and fault. Can you guys hear me? Am I audible? Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
we
hear
are able to hear.
Okay, thank you. So that is the reason this is the topic which we did initially. So because and this topic, so eventually virtual machine skill set is combination of all these three. Automatically it will add availability zones, automatically it will make use of fault domain and update domain, and it will have a load balancer to it. So in reality, when you go in real time and when you're setting up things, you'll be setting up virtual machine skill sets, guys. You'll not be selecting availability zone or availability sets separately. You can do that, there's no harm, but in reality, this is what you will be setting up. Keep that in mind. So, and what are the other features of availability set? It can allow your application to automatically scale based on demand. Okay. Now, before I talk about scaling, there are two things which I need to talk about: vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Is anyone aware what is vertical scaling and horizontal scaling? Can someone help me with defining what is vertical and horizontal? Anyone wants to give a try? No one, guys?
I can give it a shot.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so vertical scaling is when you want to add either CPUs on a server when there's either load or a server is really, how can I say that, is really loaded, and then you need another set of servers so you can set scalability policy to vertically scale. So they say scale, I think it's just scale up. So, and when you horizontally scale is when you add a new server on your current set of server. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have in mind.
Perfect. Thank you. Very good. So this is what exactly it means, guys. Vertical scaling, let me give you an example. Like this is your VM, for example. And this VM you have initially have 2 CPU and around 4 gig of memory. Okay. Now there is an increase in demand. Okay. So the same VM, what you will do now to the same VM, you will just increase 2 more CPU and some more RAMs. Again, there's an increase in demand. The same VM you will increase 2 more CPU and some more RAM. So total how many CPUs do you have now? You got 6 CPUs and you got around 12 GB of RAM. So this is the same VM wherein you are just adding up the resources. That is called as vertical scaling. Now in case of horizontal scaling, suppose there's a VM, there's 2 vCPU and 4 gig of RAM. Now there's an increase in demand. Okay. Now in such cases, in horizontal scaling, there will be a new VM altogether will be created with this compute. Again, there's an increase in demand. There will be new VM will be created again with the exact same replica VM will be created, and you will have with the same CPU. So this is what horizontal scaling is. This is what vertical scaling is. So keep this in mind. Okay, just an FYI. Okay. Now this is what a virtual machine skill set will be look like. Virtual machine skill set is nothing but it's a logical grouping of VMs, guys. So this is what your virtual machine skill set would look like. And inside this virtual machine skill set, you will have number of VMs created. These VMs will be running your application. So again, we'll take an example of Apache. This is your load balancer, which is basically diverting the network traffic coming in from outside. Okay. And virtual machine skill set is taking care of all the loads. In case of increase in spike, it will go and start adding more VMs to it automatically. So this is something we need to define if you want to add more things and such. That is something we need to define. There is an orchestration methodology which we need to use. I'll talk about that orchestration methodology in a bit. But for now, just imagine once there is a load, new VMs will be added. And once the load is gone, the VMs will be even removed automatically. These VMs will be removed automatically. Okay. Now we'll be creating this virtual machine skill set using portal. So, and what image we'll be using? So we'll be using this custom image which we just created. Okay. Using this custom image, I'll be creating my virtual machine skill sets. Okay, so I'll be giving the image to my virtual machine skill set. So when there is a demand, on what basis will it go and create new VMs? He will use this image itself to create the new VMs. Okay, so this is what the demo would be. Let's go and do the demo and let's understand this topic more efficiently. Okay, so I'll go and to the portal, back to the portal. I'll look for virtual machine skill set. Anyone has any questions, guys? If not, then kindly put yourself on mute. I think what's the name? You're not on mute. Nirupa, can kindly put yourself on mute. I don't know why I'm not able to put her on mute.
May I know what is the difference between vertical scaling and as well as horizontal scaling?
Vertical scaling is something you are just adding more computes to your existing VM. Just keep it that way. Horizontal scaling will be more VMs getting added. So it has its own benefit. Okay, so what exactly project you're working, what type of application you're working, what kind of requirements you have. Based on that, you can do vertical and horizontal scaling. In vertical, the disadvantage is that if you're increasing any compute, there is a bit of downtime which is needed. Okay, if you're adding more hardware, in order to get that hardware replicated, there's a downtime. Okay, wherein in the horizontal scaling, there's no downtime as such. It's just an additional VMs which is getting added. Okay, so depending upon what type of project, if your project application can take few minutes of downtime, then vertical scaling can make more sense, which will be cheap as well, because you're just adding a couple of resources to it. In horizontal scaling, if you're adding resources, then there are other things also getting added, a NIC card. If a public IP is used, a public IP is getting assigned, or if it's a private IP is used, a private IP is getting assigned. A new disk is getting assigned. So there are horizontal scaling could be a costly affair as compared to vertical scaling. Now this is the calculation the solution architect needs to do, like what type of scaling we need to go with. If your application can take up 5 minutes of downtime, then vertical scaling can make more sense. If no downtime is required, the scaling should happen on fly, and then horizontal scaling is something you can go with. Make sense?
Thank you.
Okay guys, so let's create a first virtual machine skill set. So let me just go and look for VMSS. Okay, I do have a VMSS also, very good. Now let's go and create a new one. This is my resource group Valaxy, and let's name it as Valaxy VMSS. Region East US. If you want to select availability zones, guys, I can have a availability zone selected. My VMSS will also get replicated into multiple availability zones. Okay, so I don't want to select this. Now, very important, there is a orchestration. So orchestration is basically a skill set model that defines the attribute of virtual machine instance. So there are two types of orchestration which you can select: uniform or flexible. So uniform is basically optimized for large scale stateless workload and identical instance if you have anything as such. Wherein flexible is achieve high availability at scale with identical or multiple virtual machine scale types. So these are the two types. So we can go with flexible over here. Uniform is more for a stateless application. Now what exactly is stateless application? So if you want to go in more in technicality, stateless is basically when there's a request sent, it will rely on the revert, but it will not store any information regarding it. At the end server, it will not store any record, it will not have any state stored, basically what has happened. Wherein on the other side, if you have a stateful workload, the stateful workload needs to get a reply back, plus it will store all the records, plus it will have all the information what exactly has happened. Okay, so there are two types of application which it gets developed nowadays. It's a stateless and stateful. So if you have a stateless workload, then uniform will make more sense. But if you have to achieve high availability, and if it's identical VM, then flexible will make more sense. So I'll suggest to go with flexible. Okay, with flexible, what it can do, it can guarantee up to 1000 VMs. Plus it can even guarantee fault domain, fully spreadings of fault domain. What exactly is fault domain? Having your own rack in which your VM is created, and you will have your own power supply and network switch, and no multiple fault domains are restarted or shut at once. So keep that in mind. Okay, availability set, this is from availability set. So this is what flexible orchestration gives you the feature. Okay, this can, with flexible, it can enable you to scale out your application while maintaining fault domain isolation. So there are many benefits of flexible. So if your application is not stateless, then flexible is the right option for achieving high availability. Okay, so make sure to select flexible. Security type will stick with standard. Image, so you need to give a base image. So what is the image you want to use? So we all have an image, correct? We have created our own image. So I can go and select my own image. This is the image which we created. So I just selected the image. This is the size of my VMSS, 1 vCPU and 1 gig of memory. So basically this size VMs will be created, guys. And let me have a user ID password. That's same like you're creating a virtual machine. The only difference is it will be created in VMSS. Okay. License type, this is Ubuntu, so I'll stick with others. There's no licensing needed over here. Disk, I'll keep it as it is. Networking, automatically a virtual network should get created and a network interface card should get created. Load balancer, we don't have a load balancer. If you want, I can go and create a load balancer also. So do we have a load balancer? No. So let's go and create a load balancer. So load balancer, basically I'm talking about this diagram, this part, which will help you distribute your traffic. So create a load balancer, give it a name, whatever name you want to give. Valaxy LB. Okay, it's a public load balancer. So if you select public, it will assign a public IP to your load balancer. Protocol type TCP. I'm just removing the NAT rule for now. I don't want this NAT rule. I'll stick with load balancer rule. What is the rule? So request. So from outside, the request will come on port 80, and this request will be diverted on port 80. This is the rule which I'm setting up right now. So this is 8080 is okay. Create. Now this is initially a 2 VMs will be created. So we'll take this example wherein these two VMs are getting created initially, and later I'll show you how do we scale it automatically and manual, both I'll show you. So two VMs are getting created. The scaling policy, I'll keep it manual for now. Later we'll put it, we'll use custom policies. For now, I'll keep it manual. Management boot diagnostic, I don't want for now. Health, it's okay. This is very important. This is a feature of flexible orchestration, guys. Okay. Spreading algorithm. So what is spreading algorithm? Max spreading. It will automatically add number of fault domains for you. So if you see the spreading algorithm, the spreading algorithm determines how the VMs in the skill set are balanced across fault domain. So if you have max spreading, so if suppose the data center has around 5 fault domain you can select, then it will select all those 5 for you. And if you take it fixed and suppose you have given a number of 5 and the data center itself does not have 5 fault domain setup, then you will not get those 5. So it's better to have max spreading option selected. Okay. Make sure to go through my previous videos, guys, because whatever we are doing right now, it's a continuation. Go and watch my previous videos and check what is availability zone, what is availability set, what is fault domain, what is update domain, because this virtual and what is load balancer. This is all we have covered previously. Go through the videos, and this virtual machine skill set is a combination of all three, and this is something which you will be using in reality. Whenever there's a question on availability and resiliency in Azure, this is the best example which you can give it. Okay, so make sure to go through my previous video, and if you have not understood anything, follow the previous video, and still if you don't understand, do let me know so that I can cover those for you. Okay, review and create. Okay, while it is creating, I'm getting questions. Let me see those questions. Who will provide this all information to create VMs in work environment? This is all provided by your solution architect, your developers. They will tell you what needs to be created, what all computers they want. All this information will be given by them. How we select horizontal vertical scaling while creating in vertical scale in VMSS, it's all by default horizontal scaling, Sirisha. Vertical scaling is something which you can do it manually. So that was just a concept which I've just explained. Yeah, business analyst, it could be Jay, it could be solution architect, it could be principal architect, it could be your business owners, anyone who is designing your complete infra, they can give you suggestion on this. Okay, make sense? Anyone? Any other questions, guys? Okay, let's wait while my VMSS it's coming up. Okay, it's done. Now let's go and have a look on it. Let's go and VMSS. This is the VMSS we have. Now if you go to this VMSS, it has a public IP, and if you go to the instance, it got 2 instances because we selected 2 as a number, and these 2 instances are behind. It doesn't have a public IP, it is behind the scene right now. And if you go to the networking, if you see port 80 was allowed, this is because my image requirement is port 80. And if you go to the scaling option, see the instance count is selected as 2 for now. If you want to increase, you can go and increase this. Okay, now let's go and try and access your application and see if your application is accessible. So I'll make use of this public IP, the VMSS public IP. So this is basically nothing but it's a load balancer public IP, guys. See this. Welcome to DevSecOps course. It's the same page for which we have created the image. Now the only difference is this is coming through a load balancer. This public IP which we have used, this is a load balancer public IP. If you want to check, go into the networking, and at the extreme right there's an option of load balancing. This is the load balancer public IP. See this front end IP. If you go and see, this is what the public IP is. Now this is how your resources are created. Now if you want to see the graph, how exactly your resources are looking like, you can go to your resource group and you can go to this resource group and you can do a resource visualization. So this is the diagram which you can, this is, I need to download this diagram if I want to show you. Let's export this. This is your complete architectural diagram, guys. This is very small, but this is how all the complete setup is done right now. Just create this at your end and try to visualize, because this is, I think it's not visible right now to you all. See this. You have your VMSS, you got your disk, you got your network interface, then you got your public IP, then you got your load balancer, then you have multiple VMs created inside it. This is all the complete diagram, what the things what we have created just now. Okay guys, so this is all about VMSS. Now you should get questions like, if I want to make changes to the existing image, how do I log into the VMs? Because if you go and see the VMs, frankly, those VMs does not have public IP. Now if you go and look into the VM, these are the VMs. It doesn't have a public IP assigned to it. It is behind the scene right now. It has, okay. So this has assigned public IP, so it's not required. If you want, you can remove this public IP. But we haven't opened the port 22 over here. So even though if there is public IP assigned, you cannot log in. But in reality, you don't need this public IP. This got assigned automatically because we have selected public option. If I want to remove this, I can go and remove it. There's no harm. Now point is, how do you make changes? Because you cannot go on each virtual machine and make changes. Okay, you want to replicate this, whatever changes you do, it should get replicated on all the VMs. As if now I got only 2 VMs, but in future I may have multiple VMs. But can I log into VMSS? Can I log into this VMSS public IP? Can I do SSH? So let's try it. SSH, what was the user ID? Valaxy at. So if you try to log in directly, you cannot do it. The first reason why you cannot do it, there is no port 22 enabled. So SSH is port 22. So at the VMS level, you can go and add a port 22 first. Go and select SSH port, and I'm allowing port 22. And by just allowing port 22, still you cannot log in. Okay, because basically what you're trying to do through this load balancer, you will be making changes to your VMs, underlying VMs. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to create a NAT rule. NATing is nothing but it's a concept through which you can access your backend VMs. You can connect to internet if you have a VM which is kept in backend, have no public IP assigned, and if you want to connect to internet, then there's a NAT gateway. Okay, network access transition, that's a NAT gateway. This is the topic which I'll cover again. For those who don't understand NATing, I'll explain you NAT again. For now, this is the concept through which you'll be able to connect to those VMs. So I'll be enabling NAT on load balancer, and through NAT rules, I'll be able to connect to my VMs through SSH. How exactly this will be done? You can go to the load balancer, select your load balancer. Once you're there in the load balancer, guys, come to this inbound NAT rule. Now click on add, give any name, let's Valaxy NAT, whatever name you want to give. You can select the virtual machines, or you can even select the backend pool, whatever way you want to connect. Target machine, if you want, you can select your VMSS. This is my VMSS. Let's select that. IP configuration, this is your NIC card. I'm selecting that. Front-end IP, I'm selecting this load balancer IP. Port is 22 port. And this is, if you want to select any SSH, this is SSH I'm selecting. And backend port, I'll select connect on port 22. Timeout, I'll select as temp. That's it. This is what the NAT rule will be created. Now, once the NAT rule is created, you can go and connect to this VM to your load balancer, not to the VM, basically to the load balancer using port 22 using SSH. Okay, let me show you. Let's wait while this NAT rule is getting created, guys. Okay, this is created. Now your NAT rule is created. Now let's go and try to do SSH to your load balancer. Do you see I'm able to connect now? So basically I've created a NAT rule at the load balancer through which I'll be able to connect to my VMs. Now just see yes and have a password. So you are logged into the load balancer right now. Now if you see this, we are connected to the, now if you want to see if you are in the VM right now, you are logged into the VM. This is how through load balancer you'll be able to connect to your VMs. Now if you see, you will have your index file over here, sudo html index. See, welcome to DevSecOps course. If you want to make any changes, you can do it directly on it and it will be reflecting. Like added new line. Let's imagine this is something I'm adding. Okay, let's exit out of it and do a restart. Systemctl restart Apache. Okay, done. I made the changes. Now let's go and use this public IP. And let me open this in incognito mode. HTTP. This see, edit new line. Welcome to DevSecOps course. Edit new line. This is how you'll be making changes to your existing image. Okay, this is how you'll be logging to the VMs if required, if needed. So this VM login will be done only by the administrators. No developers will be logging. So if they want to make changes, there's a different way of making changes, guys. Not this way. This is more for administrators. One important thing, scaling. We kept it as manual scaling. Okay, but if you want to make it automatic, so you have custom scaling option over here. This is by default. If you want to add more scaling option, you can go and add scaling option. There are two scaling mode: scale based on metric, scale based on instant count. So if you want to scale based on metric, like CPU percentage is more than 85%, memory is high and things like that, then based on that you can scale. You need to go and add rule. So basically this is your current version scale set, and this is, you can select the CPU, like suppose CPU percentage. Okay, if you want to see the current CPU percentage, this is the average is 3.21. But if you want to select like greater than, if it goes greater than 85% for duration for 5 minutes, okay, then increase the count by 1. And so this is cooldown. So if it is if the CPU is down, then decrease it also, then increase the count by 1. See this. So every time the CPU percentage is going above 85, it will go and add this. Now you can have a minimum and maximum. If you want, you can do a schedule also. If you want to have one more rule, like this is the CPU percentage rule. Now if you want to have a memory rule, you can have a memory rule also. Average available memory bytes. Okay, so based on that also, if the memory threshold goes above 70, then increase the count by 1. So based on this criteria, this is or condition which I have added. If CPU is above 85 or if the memory's byte is more than 70, then increase the count. Or if you want to schedule that at this point of time n number of VMs should be added, then you can even put a schedule. You can have a schedule that at this point of time, like see specific count, increase the instance count by 2, and you can select what time you want to do it. At that point of time, automatically 2 instance will be added. Okay, so this is custom. So when you set up custom based on requirement, it will automatically go and increase and decrease VMs based on requirement. So this is what the importance of virtual machine scale set is all about. You can have custom rules based on that. Automatically your application, if there's a spike, automatically VMs will be added. Once the spike is gone, automatically the VMs will be reduced. Okay, so that's it. We have already took already 15 minutes more today. That's okay. So that's it from VMSS, guys. If you have any questions, do let me know, or we can wind up the call for today.
Yeah, hi Rohit.
Yeah.
So in previous topic means that you are showing the load balancer. In that you have made changes in one VM and enter the line as a DevOps flows, and this is a new line. So in the load balancer we have a multiple VMs. So you have
Mhm.
made changes in only one VM. So is automatically replicated to the other VMs also, or it's for just only you are showing on one?
No, so this is why I've showed you to log in if you want to log into your VM. But if you see it is getting replicated automatically, but you can even log into load balancer. Now you can even log into the backend pool. So when you go and add NAT rules, let's go back. So there's one more option wherein you can just go and log into the backend, and that way it will replicate things to all the underlying VMs. Now go to the NAT. If you
Means
go
we
and see
not
this
need
there.
to manually do in all the one by one VMs.
No. If you see this backend pool option, this will select this B pool. So basically it is selecting all the VMs, all your VMs. When you log in, it will be replicating to all your VMs. But I believe even by making changes to one VM, it is replicating. Can someone try accessing this IP and tell me if you're getting the old page or this is the new page you guys are getting?
So this public IP is nothing but a load balancer IP, not
Load
a VM
balancer.
IP.
See, it's not replicated. See, I'm still no. This is could be my cache. Guys, kindly try it from your side and let me know if you're getting this old page or you're getting the new page. I believe it should be the old page also because we just made changes to that VM directly, not to the load balance. But yeah, if you have a NAT rule which is connecting to the backend, the whole page. Is it old one or the new one? Is it welcome to DevSecOps course or added new line also?
No means I just question means you are accessing the public IP of the load balancer, not the individual VM.
Correct. Yeah, that's a load balancer IP. That's correct.
And that means previously you have done some changes in the etc folder. So it's means a load balancer VM, not means that individual VM that included in that load balancer.
Correct. So yeah,
Oh,
there are two ways. You can access the VMs also. You can access the load balancer also. If you're making changes at the load balancer, automatically things will get replicated. And if you want to make changes to the individual VMs, even that is possible. So it's up to you what you want to do.
okay,
Make
thank
sense?
you.
No problem, guys. Thank you very much. Please go through this virtual machine skill set option. This is very important service in Azure, and this is definitely an interview question. And if you get any question related to availability and resiliency, this is definitely a talking point. Okay, go through it,
Yeah,
practice it.
question.
Yeah, anyone?
Yeah, you mentioned that we should go back and watch your old videos.
Yes.
I really don't understand. I just joined this class. I started this week. So
Mhm.
what old video are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about the videos which we did about availability set, availability zones, and load balancer. So if you have part of this, I think Josh, you are part of this session. So this is for them who have joined new, and like there are a couple of people who have joined today also. So that is for them basically.
Yeah, and I noticed that there are some videos that are on uh at my portal or account or whatever that it's an interactive class and it seemed like it's an old class. So I was
Hmm.
just wondering what was going on, but I was told that
Yeah, prior to you joining, there were a couple of sessions which we did on virtual networking. So I think that those were the videos. So just go through it. Don't worry if you don't understand anything in virtual networking. I'll have couple of sessions wherein I'll explain virtual networking again. So just so prior to you joining in, we had couple of sessions wherein we covered topics in virtual networking. So just go through it and let me know if there's any difficulty. Then I'll have couple of sessions because there are many new folks. So I'll definitely have virtual networking sessions for you guys.
all right, thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, guys. Let's meet up tomorrow and let's continue this topic. Bye bye.